My name is Ethan Nelson, and here's how to build any AI app with vibe coding. If you're someone that has never written a single line of code in your life and you don't want to start now, I was just like you, and I've got you covered. I'll teach you how to make a mobile app faster than ever before with no code and without needing a technical background. And so, my name is Ethan. I personally built and sold 80 grand worth of AI applications in the last 6 months using apps just like Rourke that I'm about to show you to build this app. And so I know this shit works. And if you watch this, you'll be able to create your first mobile app without needing code. And it's really fast. And so stick around to the end of the video if you want some free templates and ideas for what types of apps to create for your first app. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. So this is rourke.app. So if you go to rourke.com or rourke.app, you can go and see this interface. And this is what we're going to be using to build out this app. And so if we look right now into the text box right here, you'll see that I can just enter a prompt and have it start building me out an app. And so we're going to build out one live on this video. So let's say I want to build out an app where it's an AI meditation coach. And so I'm going to say, let's build out an AI meditation coach app. The goal is that it should be able to give me notifications to remind me to practice. It should have a timer on it so I can track the length of my meditations, and there should be some instructions about how to meditate. There should also be a tracker to track the total number of days in a row that I've meditated so that I can build the habit faster. And so while this is loading, it's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to start writing some code. I'm going to show you exactly how to think about building apps. So most people start with a solution. They say, oh, this is a really great idea that I want to build out. This app is going to change the world. But it doesn't actually ever solve a single problem, right? There's no problem that it's actually addressing. And so what you want to do is just think about, when you're thinking about what app you should build, just think about what are the problems that I face in my life? What are the problems that other people face? Maybe go out and ask your friends, like, what are the things that you wish like an app could do? And then just come up with a list of problems and then reverse engineer the solutions from the problems, right? So let's go back into Rourke and see what's happening. And so inside of Rourke, let's say I'm building out an AI meditation coach app. We can see it's creating a meditation app. It has a timer, streak tracking, notification reminders, guided meditation, stats to track progress. It's deciding on its own. Like, I'm not telling it to do any of this. I just literally gave it this prompt. Let's build out this app with these features. And it's saying it's going to use a calming minimalist aesthetic with a light theme, pastel colors, inspiration from iOS and Notion for clean interfaces, home screen with timer and streak info, setting screen, stats, instructions. It's creating the file structure for us. So even if you're not a developer, you can still build this, right? Because I'm not a developer. I don't know what all this means. I don't know what apps.tabs layout.tsx means. I mean, it literally tells me tab navigation, home screen, stats, but I don't know what this means. And so it's creating all of these, and it's still running. And the cool thing here is we can actually just go and literally scan a QR code and start seeing the app live on our phone. And so I'm going to let this keep running, and you can see it's creating all of these different files, which are just like different programs. And if I click on one of these, you'll see that like all these files, you can see it's literally just writing code for us. Like, it just wrote all this code, just wrote all this code, just wrote all this code, right? So it's literally just writing code for us. You can see it's just creating file after file after file after file. And so I'm going to let this run for a second so that we can start seeing what the app actually looks like. But in the meantime, I want to give you some ideas about how to build out apps. So we talked about starting with the problem, then going to the solution. The other thing that I want to talk about right here is most of us have a fear of shipping, right? We think, oh, I'm not a programmer. What if something goes wrong? Stuff is always going to go wrong, right? And so most people think that their app has to be absolutely perfect. This is like, let's say like this is like 100% up here. So if I go right here, this is like 100% perfect. And this is like Down here is like 0%. 0%. Let's make those a little bigger. So there's like 0 down here, and then this is 100. Not 1008. This is 100. And so we can see that most people will like, oh, I have to get it like 80% perfect before I launch this thing. It's got to be like way up here. But really, you should launch it at 10%. You should launch it at, again, at 20%, again at 45%, again at 62%, right? And you want to launch it at each of these different vectors, because you launch it for free. Like maybe you don't turn it into a paid app until it gets 80%, but you're already launched it 4 or 5 times. You've gotten customer feedback at each of these levels. You know if it's actually something that the market likes. If not, maybe you go back and start a new app. From the beginning. If you launched it and 2 months later nothing is happening. And so you can see it's still running here. And it just literally created like 20 different files for us right here. Okay, so it just ran into an issue, an error, and so I wanted to show you this. So I let this run for a while. It created all these, and then it said found critical issues, fix now. So it shows us what the issues are. I can literally just click fix now and then click enter down here, and it's literally just it's just surfacing the errors that it found while trying to make it, and then it's letting the AI just go and actually just fix the app. Right, so this is how, like, if you're still skeptical, you literally do not need to know how to program. If you understand what all this stuff means, great, like you're ahead of the curve. But if you don't, like, this is where things are at right now in May of 2025. But give this another year, 2 years, 5 years. I think you're not even gonna even see any of this. It's just going to, within a matter of seconds, populate this app, and then the difficulty now is not in building the app. It's in figuring out what is the idea of what you want to build, what is valuable, what is the customer feedback. Speaking with customers and figuring out real world problems is going to be the most difficult thing to learn, and becoming getting the entrepreneurial skills of sales, marketing, customer support, product design. Those are more important than actually being able to go and build this. So you can see it just gave us an MVP here. This is absolutely nuts. And so I go in here, there's a streak, and then I say, how many minutes do I want to meditate? I want to meditate for 3 minutes. Boom. It literally just started the app here. It's giving me meditation tips. I don't know if it lets me scroll down. And so it's literally, okay, so I'm going in here, it's tracking. And if I go to stats, the current streak, 7-day goal, meditation history, the total number of sessions in minutes. And then I have a guide, why meditate, getting started, breath awareness. It's giving me all these different techniques that it just found from the internet. And then if I go to settings, daily reminder, it's giving me notification reminders. You can see how like within a matter of like 2 minutes, it built out this entire app, almost precisely what I asked it to do. I said it should give me notifications to remind me. Okay, we saw that. It's giving me notifications. Should have a timer on it. That was the biggest thing, first thing right here. Let's say I finish up. It says incomplete. And then it says track the length of the meditations. There should be a tracker. It built out a custom stats tracker, the number of days in a row. It's pretty wild now. So this is like almost exactly what I wanted it. But let's say make it more aesthetic. So what we could do is we could say, give me app design aesthetics. So what we can do is we can start getting smart here, and we can start saying, okay, what are like some app designs that are really compelling? Like, oh wow, that looks really nice. That's like a Headspace type app. I haven't seen any that I absolutely love. That it looks a little bit better than our last one. This one looks really nice. So let's find one that looks good in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask it to recreate it in this style. So yeah, let's just choose one. This one doesn't look too bad. So I'm going to copy this image, and then I'm going to go in here, and I paste it in there and make it more aesthetic and try to match the style of the image below as closely as you can. And then I'm going to let this run. Oh, it found more issues. We'll fix those later. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to have it create like the aesthetics. It's adding purple gradient backgrounds, rounded corners, soft shadows. I literally just took an image of something online that I wanted it to look like, and I said, go and do this. And so it's matching it with these aesthetics. It's making these changes. It's updating the colors document, the theme document, the card document. And then I can literally just go in here and wait for this to finish, and then I can have it fix these errors. And so I'm going to let this run for, it'll probably run for about 30 seconds, but I don't want to bore you. So we're actively discussing, how to build out these agents, how to get them in front of clients. There's tons of new members joining every single week with multiple different events. And lots of discussion is happening in here about how to actually build these out. And so I will personally do a 60-minute call with you if you join, and we can create a custom roadmap for you. And so back to the app. And so it's essentially building this all out. So I want to go into strategy of how to actually vibe code better. And so let's say we go into fear of shipping. I want to add another principle in here. And the principle is there's two different ways. One is kind of how I just showed you, and the other way is a more effective way. And so if we go in here, this is your app, right? You could just try to build out the entire app right out the gate from the start. So you can have one prompt, a one-shot prompt, and you can say, build me out this entire app. You can see as we did that, it got pretty close. Like it got really, really close. But the problem with that is that once I try to make changes later, there's more errors, and it doesn't do as well. And so as you can see, it gets really close on the first try. But then as I change things, it starts breaking. So the other strategy in here is you can say, what is the app that I want to build? What are all of the different features? So what are all of the different features that I want to build out for this app? You can list them out, and you can say like, what is kind of like the core features and what is the secondary features? And so let's say each of these are one of the features. Like in order to have a fully functioning app that we want to build out, we need all of these different features. And then essentially what we'd have to do after that is we'd say, okay, now we go and we give the AI each of the features. Hey, we're going to build out this app. Start by only building out this feature. Now let's add this feature. Now let's add this feature. Oh, you can't do it. Why not? Okay, now let's add it. Now let's fix that. Let's add it. And so when you give it a plan, and you give it literally like a structured step-by-step plan of what it should start building. And even if you're not a developer, like you don't need to be a developer to understand this stuff. Just think about like, go and ask Claude, if I want an app, what are the features I need to put in it? And what are the more foundational features for this app? And what are the features that would get added on later? And literally have Claude create this plan for you and then add it in here. And so I'll have more videos where I'll show you exactly how to do that. But that's one of the design principles here is you can tell it to do everything all at once, and it will probably be good enough to do that someday. But right now, if you give it a list of features and you chunk it out, it's going to be a lot more effective. And so with that being said, the last thing I want to show you is that you can literally publish this to the App Store. Like it's literally never been easier to create a mobile app and to test it out and to publish it. Like this, if I go to this website, it's probably just going to be like a emulator environment to test it out. I can also go, boom. You can send this to people. You can have them test it out on their phones. You can publish it to TestFlight on the App Store, or you can literally go in here and submit the app to the App Store in a matter of minutes, right? And so this is if I want to submit it manually, but if I want to do it manually, I literally just go to this button, manual App Store submission, and I go and I literally just submit this app. And like, I don't want you to be intimidated by code, right? Code, like there's basically, I can go and look at the code in here if I really want to, but a lot of this app, the majority of the building that I did, I literally didn't look at code at all. And I just said, hey, do this. And I literally just read this great text and it's saying, oh, I'll create all of these things. And it's creating all these apps for us. And all I'm just reading is like, oh, these are the specific things that it's trying to build. And, maybe it didn't get there on the first try. It wasn't like perfect. Now let me just, go and create a new one. Let's start fresh and let's try to do it again, learning from the mistakes. And you really have to take the mindset of just shipping things fast and often and learning from mistakes. Like if you just lean into failure and you just have that forward tilt mentality, full stop, you say, oh, like the first app that I built, I prompted it 5 times. It didn't really work. Maybe I put all of this into Claude, right? Maybe I take my project, I put all of the logs into Claude and say, why did this not work? How do I do it better? And then I go and prompt it again, right? And after doing this 5 or 10 times, you will literally have a fully functional app that you can put on the App Store and start selling for money, even as a non-developer. And so I hope you found value from this. I hope that this kind of jogged your brain about different things you can build. And as I said, some different apps that you can build out. We could build out, there's a couple different apps that we can build out here. A couple of the ones that I thought were really interesting is an accessible education tutor. And so as education is changing so rapidly, I think one of the things that you should think about is how do you actually build out apps that tailor education for different platforms. Like people are trying to build this, but you can niche down. So think about this. You can build an accessible education tutor that adapts to different learning styles and abilities, that works offline with low connectivity, right? But now think about this, but only for science or only for literature. Like if you niche down, you're going to be able to win. And another one is a medical symptom analyzer. This is a little bit more risky because giving people medical advice is a risky thing. But you could start out like you have a warning screen. This is not like full on advice from a doctor. This is just from like a database of information. And then you go and you say, like type in your symptoms. Here are potential things that are happening for you. You could literally build out anything. And one of the things that I want you to think about when thinking about how to actually build these out, what I want you to think about is how can you combine multiple things. So like when we were building this app out, right? This was the meditation app. Where did it go? I'm not sure where it went now. It should be saved in our project somewhere. But this is like a meditation app that we built out. There it is. Now it's showing up. See, you can just literally see multiple different apps. You can just build out multiple different apps. So what was I saying? When you're building this out, try to combine multiple different things. So I didn't just create a meditation timer. I also wanted it to have streaks. I also wanted it to have different systems to be able to help me meditate for longer. So imagine if you did this and then integrated it with a to-do list and had it export into someone's to-do list or their calendar, or, there's a lot of app ideas out there that are just created by saying, there's this one app that does this thing really well and there's this other one that does this thing really well. What if we streamlined it and made it such that one app, you're not switching between all these different apps to do something, and you can just like accomplish a more effective problem, more effectively accomplish a problem. And so I hope you guys found this video valuable. Thank you guys so much for watching till the end. And comment down below any app ideas, any questions you have. And I'm going to be creating a lot of more YouTube videos based on what you guys are curious about and specific problems that you have. So comment down below and say, like, what are the specific things that you're struggling with in your business? What are the specific things with AI that you're trying to learn? And I'll make sure to create a video on it. Thanks.